Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and today we're taking a look here at the double feature PokeFair Scouts going to be dropping tomorrow alongside the rerun of the Hoenn Villain arc, and it's featuring Signasuit Brendan and Signasuit Steven. Look, I know Steven he reran back in what, February 25th of this year, so he's only 5 months since his rerun, which is pretty short all things considered for a lot of units nowadays, but he's still good, man. I will say this banner, like, obviously, you got Clara, Avery, Greta, the summer units are gone. I honestly might say that this is probably the most the most valuable banner of the month, probably. Other than when Champion Bianca and Sharon were still around, right? But like when they release, right? This banner releases, it's going to be probably the most valuable banner because you got a PokeFair Scout with 2 good PokeFairs. Brendan's a good support. Steven's still a really good PokeFair just in general. He's a good tech with the support X roll. And I would say you should... I would say at least going for a copy of Steven is very recommendable, especially as a new player. He's got good damage. He's got good utility. You're going to find a usage for Steven pretty much anywhere in this damn game, man. Trust me. And I guess we'll go ahead and start out with Steven. We'll be looking at Steven first, and we'll look at Brendan. Brendan did get upgraded in the form of having the Sprinty X roll, which we'll go into when we talk about him. So, Steven here, he is a Tech Sync pair, Tech Psychic Sync pair, but he functions effectively as every single role in the game, other than Field, pretty much. And he was made before the additions of Sprint and Field, so that's how you know it's crazy. He does have the support EX roll, which is pretty much what everybody wanted for him. It's an amazing EX roll to have, effectively, because that's what helps him the most. Striker does not help him for his attack mode. Tech would be fine, right? Sprint and Field would be okay and whatnot, right? But support, for the most part, is going to be the most universal of all of his forms, for the most part. So I guess we'll go ahead and look into it. So he starts out as the normal form Deoxys with 236 defenses, I guess without the support X roll, he starts at 196 defenses, 764 health, 264 offenses, 376 speed, average stats, right? The stats change effectively whenever you switch forms, so it doesn't really matter too much. Just when you go to the normal form, they don't. So for normal form, the stats are about this same, which without the EX roll, they're not really that impressive, but with the EX roll, they can be quite decent. Still not like crazy or anything, obviously. But the big thing is that he has these 4 different moves which will change his form, and they can only be used once. So once you lock into a form, you are stuck with it, as we all know, for the most part. He's got Try This, which changes the field of planet psychic terrain, raises all of his stats, besides health, obviously, by 2. And physical attack, right? He doesn't raise physical attack for whatever reason, but sure. By 2, and replaces the user's moves with different moves, replaces some passives with different passives. This is just, we'll go into the forms later, right? Attack, it raises special attack by 6 and crit by 3, amazing self-sufficiency, and then faster, reduces sync countdown, raises speed by 6, and raises evasion by 3. This, we'll go into this a little bit later, but this is some good sync utility, of course, and obviously good gauge. And then the defend form, which raises allies' attack and special attack by 4, and applies damage guard next to Steven. So this is basically the tank form, obviously. Let's just go ahead and go to normal form here to start out with. Normal form, I think, has its uses, but I don't think it's like a crazy form other than the Gauntlet. Like, in the Gauntlet, it's very good, but outside of that, it's not really that crazy. The big thing with this form is that it's got Zen Headbutt, which at 1 out of 5 is not really all that crazy. Okay, actually, wait. Oh, he does have... I forgot he had aggravation of 1 out of 5. So yeah, actually, aggravation's pretty damn good. He's got a 60% flinch chance, which is obviously one of the big things to go for here. Those 60% flinches are nice. He's also got fuel economy, which makes Zen Headbutt have only 1 gauge. So he's able to use Zen Headbutt extremely effectively without, taking up too much gauge. This means he's going to be very gauge efficient, and it's going to be good for solos because of that same regard, right? And he's also got Downside Up, which, whenever his stats would be lowered, raises them instead. All the Steven forms have this passive, so anytime they go for Psycho Boost, which is the main move they all share, instead of lowering special attack by 2, it will instead raise special attack by 2, which is obviously good, right? Other than that, the normal form of Deoxys has Recover and Cosmic Power, buffing his defenses and applying healing ability, which makes it so when you fail those flinches, because you're not going to land 60% chances every single time, usually, that means you'll be able to recover up your damage, and you will obviously be able to mitigate as much damage as possible by using Cosmic Power, right? And with the Sync move here, because he's a Tech, he's got the Tech Boost 360 base power Sync move. Well, I guess at 1 out of 5, 300 base power, 3 out of 5, 330. And it's got the innate multiplier of Rising Tide for 120% total multipliers. Very good stuff. The only problem with this form is that he does not have a way to buff crit. I don't think he has any in the grid either, now that I think about it. I guess critical odds too. Okay, so critical odds 2, he's got a +2 crit rate, right? If you do give him 3 out of 5, right, you'll be able to get critical odds. +2 crit could be good. Adds the extra damage, means you don't have to rely on the longer battle, I guess, because of the lack of damage that you're doing for the most part. But either way, that's the big thing with the normal form Deoxys here, is that you're able to have that 60% flinch chance, the defense buffing, the HP recovery, and a little bit of damage with Psycho Boost and the Sync Nuke, because your offensive stats are not really that impressive, even with full investment, right? These are not very impressive stats at all, pretty akin to that of Anniversary Steven. But that's really not the point. You're meant to be flinching, nuking, and recovering any damage that you may take in the middle of it, right? Which is an amazing utility for the Legendary Gauntlet, and that's not even factoring in all the stuff he has in the grid, which we'll go into in a little bit here. We've also got the attack form, which is probably what most players will be using, like in any game mode where you're supposed to be doing damage, right? You know, Stadium, the high score event, you know, any battle that's not really reliant upon like gimmicks or long form content will be probably using the attack form, and even long form content like Ultimate Battles will probably be using it instead, just because there's not really too much to make usage of in the other forms because of all the resilient stuff, better options for supportive characters. Sync Countdown is better used by sprint characters than speed form Deoxys, that type of stuff. Attack form is really where you're getting the most help, and even then, honestly, Steven's not fantastic in Ultimate Battles, but he can be used, I mean, obviously. With full investment, Steven is pretty solid in the attack form. 552 in both offenses is really, really damn good. That's a very high special attack and physical attack stat. The HP's fine, the speed's fine. Speed's good, actually. Nearly 400 speed's good stat. And then 170 defenses, because he does get his defenses cut. Without the support X roll, it is 142, but with it, you get 170 defenses, which is definitely a pretty solid upgrade. These are still not good defenses at all. He will get slapped up pretty hard without like defensive utility at all on the team, so you got to be careful of that, but he will be able to, you know, exchange that for high damage output. In the moves, obviously, he's got Psycho Boost for damage. This will be actually doing damage this time, right? He still maintains that Rising Tide Sync Nuke here. His Sync Nuke does not change between the forms. He's still got NA Rising Tide and 330 base power on the Sync move, so he will be doing some good damage with that, and it will be AoE because he's got Expanded Sync, which makes it whenever he's targeting one opponent with a Sync move, it will become all opponents. So he's got an innate Striker Sync Nuke while being a tech character, which is basically why he was probably considered so broken as a quote-unquote broken, I guess, as a damage dealer back when he released, because it was effectively a strike tech character before those were even a thing, like a whole year before they were a thing, which is crazy. And then he's got Protect for Damage Guard. This is obviously seen in good utility with like Champion Marnie and Neo Champion Red, right? Being able to use Protect before like the enemy uses a high-powered move, like a Sync move, or in Nolan's case, like a +10 physical moves next boosted Earthquake and that stuff. That's where Protect's usability comes from, right? That this is a good thing to have for sure. And he still maintains the Zen Headbutt, which only has a 20% flinch chance this time around, and Cosmic Power for defensive buffs. But mostly, of course, Psycho Boost and Protect are your two big nodes. And again, he keeps downside up, so you will not be debuffing your special attack. And I want you to remember that when you use the attack trainer move, when you first switch to attack form, you will be getting +6 attack and +3 crit. And from downside up, those stats will never be able to be debuffed, meaning you are effectively getting a modern striker with their self-sufficiency, and it can never be debuffed by any enemy, unless they like Snatch, but I don't think Snatch does anything for downside up. I could be wrong though. And then we've also got Power Combo, 30% chance for increasing physical or special moves next, physical and special moves next, by 1 stat rank when the move is successful. That's fine. 30% special moves next buff, that's fine. It's not really crazy in today's standards, but it is still good. So I mean, despite the fact that he is as old as he is, being nearly 2 years old, which is crazy, Steven is still really, really good for sure as a damage dealing character. Only thing I would say, he just doesn't really have multipliers. He's got a Rising Tide for the Sync Nuke, but he doesn't have any other multipliers for DPS outside of the grid. But still, that's fine. There's no complaints about that. He's still going to be good. And he does get, again, Furious Brain here at 3 out of 5. So you're going to be having an extra 30% multiplier for that there. No problems whatsoever. Though he does not have any Sync Nuke multipliers other than the 4 Sync nodes that he's able to get with his grid. So that is, I guess, another thing to consider, but whatever. Defense form Deoxys, it's got pretty much the opposite of attack form, where it's got extremely high defenses and extremely low of everything else. The low speed really kills it. This form, I would say, is definitely the worst form of Steven pretty much in general, because its speed's so bad, its offenses are so bad, which is, fair, right? But its defenses are good, but again, its speed is bad. That's the thing with a lot of supports, is that you can't afford to run a support as, being super slow, even though obviously Deoxys' defense is naturally really slow. Like, I get why they did that, but it still isn't good. Like, Steven, this does not mean that he's going to be a good unit anyway. It's still, the slowness still really kind of kills him for the most part, in my opinion. But whatever, it doesn't really matter anyway. Looking at his moves, he's got the same stuff as the other Deoxys. He's got Psycho Boost, Recover, Zen Headbutt. If you didn't know, or didn't notice, which you should have, they all have Zen Headbutt, but they alternate between Protect and Recover. The Deoxys speed and defense have Recover, whereas attack form, I think also normal form. Yeah, normal form's got Recover, but the attack form specifically is the only one with Protect, which makes more, I guess it makes more sense than Recover. Recover could be good, right, for more consistent healing, but if you're going to be taking a bigger attack, Protect will be more helpful, because you can just rely on your support to potion up and whatnot, and that's generally what you do anyway. But whatever. In defense form, it's got Iron Defense as its main move, or main changing move, right? It's got Iron Defense for raising his own defenses by 2, but the passives change a lot, right? He's got Stat Share 9, giving all allies +2 defense, and Team Mind Bracing Infliction 9, raising ally special defense by 2 when using a status move. So, you obviously use it, you get +2 defense, but you also get +2 special defense, and as we know from when you use Defend, you will give all allies +4 in both offenses. So, you're getting +4 offenses and +6 in defenses. But that's it. That's pretty much all you get from defenses. You don't get speed buffs, you don't get physical or special moves next, you don't get recovery for your team. You do get it, obviously, for Deoxys itself, but not for the team. Nothing else, really. This is why the form is not that great. It is a very good wall. Yes, it is an impenetrable fortress. Sure, but it's still not... that you need to be a team player in this game, right? So, you're better off using one of the other forms. And then finally we got Speed Form, which is a very mixed kind of character. It's got this is probably my second favorite of the forms. Obviously, the other forms are better, probably, but I like Speed because it gains a whole lot from the EX roll. Instead of having, obviously attacks got boosted offenses, defense has boosted defenses, but Speed's got boosted defenses and speed. I don't know what the exact amount is. I guess it's probably 2.2 times if I were to guess, whatever. Obviously, we got, with Speed Form, 265 in both defenses, which is pretty solid. But with the EX roll, from how the multiplicative increases work, it goes up to 317, which, that's pretty good defensive stats for a character that is not really meant to be taking hits. And let's just look at the speed. It's gas. Like, this 630 speed is nuts. The gauge with this character is insane. You can carry the speed of with just having Deoxys Speed Form. You can run it with 2 pretty slow characters, and Deoxys speed will work fine, because it also buffs its speed by 6 and evasion by 3. So that's really good for sure. And in the moves, it's got Psycho Boost, Recover, and Zen Headbutt. It's not going to be doing too much damage because the offensive stats are not that great, but it's got Double Team for evasion. So it can do Evasion Cheese, which is where the tanking comes in, where it's got the pretty good base defensive stats, right, plus Recover for healing, and it's got the Dodge with evasion, the Dodge with evasion. And then in the passives, it's got Afflictor's Fervor 2, which reduces sync countdown by 2 when the first time the user's Pokemon uses a status move each battle. So not only are you getting -2 sync countdown from from transforming to Speed Form Deoxys, you also get -2 from using Double Team. So again, kind of like Sprint DX roll before it was, a thing, right? Kinda, maybe not really. It's more like akin to like Leer or Cygnus Silver, Doja Gloria, those type of characters with their sync countdown, right? Probably more akin to that, but still. Definitely good. And the Catalytic Infliction, applying Gauge Acceleration when the user's Pokemon uses a status move each battle. First time Pokemon uses a status move each battle, so it's also got Gauge Acceleration. Good speed, +6 speed from the transformation, and then also Gauge Acceleration, meaning this character can manage Gauge extremely well. It's got 20% flinch chance, and it's got the good tanking ability, which is what I like about Speed Form Deoxys for the most part. Just its ability to be a tank while also applying more to the team with Sync Countdown than what Deoxys Defense applies with its slow-ass self. And that's pretty much Deoxys at 1 out of 5. And the big one you want to look at is the normal forms, 60% flinch chance with the 1 gauge Zen Headbutt plus the Recover and defensive buffs for the Legendary Gauntlet. The attack form's Psycho Boost, obviously, is pretty solid with its damage, 552 special attack, 200 base power move, 120% Sync Nuke multiplier here for the most part. Good stuff, and obviously the 30% special moves next chance as well, and the AoE sync move makes Deoxys attack look really good. Defense is mostly fodder, but I mean, if you do need an impenetrable wall type of character for whatever reason, Deoxys defense can cover that as long as you can cover what it lacks, which is quite a lot. And then Speed Form, again, with its sync count down and evasion tanking could be quite clutch as well. I think Speed Form would mostly be good in the stadium where you're not using, if you're not using Attack Form, I think Speed Form could be good in the stadium. That's about where I would probably put it for fun sync countdown strategies. But whatever. Looking at the grid, 1 out of 5 Deoxys doesn't have much besides a sync node, which is helpful. I mean, you know, plus 25 sync power, that's going to be pretty good. And Psycho Boost accuracy is very helpful too, and just some gauge refresh stuff for the most part could be decent wherever you decide to have it. 2 out of 5, it gains 2 more sync nodes, which is pretty good, frankly. I'm probably going to candy my Deoxys, or at least try to get it to 2 out of 5 with candies. Or not candies, daily, but I digress. Anyway, so more at 2 out of 5. Again, we got the sync nodes, we got natural remedy for some status condition restoration, could be good for a random burn from Moltres, poison from Tornadus, Cresselia, paralysis from Cresselia, whatever, right? You know, pretty basic stuff. Morale boost 9, 100% chance to raise special attack by 2 when the trainer uses a move. This is mostly probably for normal form Deoxys because it does get +2 in all of its stats, so giving it giving it +4 special attack could be good for powering up its nuke and obviously Rising Tide more activation for those slower, again, Legendary Gauntlet battles. Pretty useless outside of that, just outright. And even still, it's not actually that great because you still got Psycho Boost. You can just raise special attack by that way because you got down set up, right? Double Team Gauge Refresh 9, Double Team Pep Rally, raising speed of all allies, just in case somehow Deoxys' speed form is not enough for Gauge carry. You can get Pep Rally and raise ally speed, and that should be enough. Because if you're having trouble with Gauge even after this, what the fuck are you running? Are you running a Trick Room team in Pokemon Masters? That's crazy. Also, I love how you can hit the border of the the website here, the little frame here. Anyway, whatever. I just noticed that. Anyway, Recover, Move, Gauge, Refresh, Quick Cure, again, pretty much same thing, but for status changes, right, as Natural Remedy, and that's mostly a Gauge Refresh 2, I guess, could be helpful depending on, what form you're using. Again, Gauntlet stuff, though normal form's already pretty gauge efficient, so still, whatever, I mean, it's fine. Also, it's got Pinpoint Entry, so Psycho Boost accuracy node, not really that helpful, but sure. 3 out of 5, Deoxys obviously gets most of its stuff. Furious Brain for the attack form, giving a 30% DPS multiplier. That is going to help it out. On top of those, again, 550 offensive stats, Psycho Boost 220 base power. That's going to be good. Soften up 1 for guaranteed crits, because you do still have that problem with expanded sync, right? So guaranteeing your crits will be helpful, and this is also helpful for normal form Deoxys if you are trying to do better nuking damage with it, because obviously it can only buff its crit by up to +2, seemingly. Right, and so having Soften Up 1 will guarantee those crits on the sync move. That's nice. Psycho Boost BOGO 4, giving you 50% chance for free moves next. Could be good for normal form Deoxys, could be good for attack form Deoxys as well, the 2 forms they'll probably be using it. Because theoretically, and I think once you're done using Cosmic Power and whatever, you'll probably be alternating between Zen Headbutt and Psycho Boost, or you can, rather, if you want to try and do a little bit of damage with normal form Deoxys, just to make things a little bit quicker. Getting BOGO could be helpful for that. Recover MPR, Recover Master Healer, obviously, basic healing stuff. You're probably going to be going for this over most things for at least Deoxys, normal form Deoxys, and maybe Deoxys Speed. And then, yeah, again, just the other basic stuff here. Critical odds, as we mentioned. Disarm. Disarm's a very good node as well for normal form Deoxys. You got your ability to buff defenses, recover HP, and debuff offensive stats. This just makes the normal form Deoxys really, really good utility for the Legendary Gauntlet. Basically taking up the support role, obviously, without actually being a support character. Though it does have the support EX role, which is funny. So there you go. That's a 3 out of 5 Deoxys. Great. I mean, this is a lot of good stuff for 3 out of 5 Deoxys. You got the offensive stuff, you've got the utility stuff, the self-sufficiency stuff as well, the healing. All of this is just good. The double team, Pep Rally, all of these can be good just depending on where you're trying to use this form. Again, if you just want pure power, Furious Brain, 4 sync nodes, Soften Up 1, those are all good things. And the BOGO Psychic Boost is good for gauge efficiency as well. And again, if you want to use normal form for the Legendary Gauntlet, Disarm 9, Recover Master Healer, and MPR. I guess Gauge Refresh 2 could be good, Soften Up 1 could be niche, still could be useful though, I guess. Morale Boost, no, I wouldn't even really mess with Morale Boost now that I think about it, but Psycho Boost BOGO, I guess, these nodes could be good for that form and whatnot. Whatever. At 4 out of 5 rather, they get Where are the tiles? Okay, Piercing Gaze and Vigilance. I did lose them. Vigilance, this makes it so you can run a different lucky skill, but generally Vigilance is good enough if you're going to be wanting to run Vigilance anyway. But this could be good maybe if you're trying to run him in Ultimate Battles where he's going to be getting crit. Though granted, I think for the most part, Ultimate Battles would be dangerous for Attack Form Deoxys because of its lack of defensive ability anyway. Attack Form, right? Those horrible defenses. And then Piercing Gaze, moves never miss. I don't think this is going to be too much of a problem, but it could be good for, like, I don't know, Cresselia, Latias, those evasion buffing legendary arenas, I guess. I wouldn't worry too much about it, though. You already buff your accuracy by +1 on entry, and you have Psycho Boost +10 accuracy here, I guess, so... and Zen Headbutt +10 accuracy as well. I don't know. Point is, I don't think Piercing Gaze and Vigilance are that crazy, but they do have their uses. And the 5 out of 5 gets Mind Games 9 and Head Start 1. Head Start 1's good sync countdown utility. Could be good for all of the forms, but obviously Speed Form would probably excel from having that the most. That skips an entire rotation. I keep rotating through these forms. Right, you get -2 sync countdown when you go into Speed Form. Head Start 1, that's -3. You've effectively skipped the whole turn, I'm pretty sure, right? So it's obviously good. No doubt about that. And then again, Mind Games 9 as well. Lowering enemy special defense, this is pretty much good for Attack Form Deoxys, and can be good for, like, maybe normal form if you need some utility, I guess, or if you want Speed Form to also have that, debuffing utility, could be good for that too. So Mind Games 9 is more useful for more than just Attack Form, but obviously Attack Form excels the most, be able to do more damage. There you go. Where would I recommend Candy Deoxys? I mean, 3 out of 5 is good enough, right? For all the stuff you're trying to do with all these different forms, 3 out of 5 is more than good enough, but obviously 5 out of 5 does have its usage with Head Start 1 and Mind Games 9. It just really depends on if you really think that they're worth that investment or not. But 3 out of 5 is definitely, in my opinion, more than good enough. If you're going to be running, like, Attack Form Deoxys or whatever, I mean, just... there you go. This is pretty much what you're really wanting to run. You can just... Sure, man. I guess if you want the accuracy node that bad, you can run that. And then if you want, invest in 1 energy and get softened up if you want the guaranteed crits. Otherwise, literally just invest in whatever you want. If you want, maybe Psycho Boost, Gauge Refresh, go for that. If you want Pogo, I guess, maybe try and go for that. Invest the extra energy where applicable. You can do that literally however you want. I personally don't care. There's a lot of different ways you can build that form of Deoxys. Obviously, I'm going to guess that every legendary arena is going to mostly vary for the most part, depending on what you need. But being able to go for Recover, Master Healer, and Recover NPR, probably good for normal form Deoxys. Disarm 9 is going to be good as well. I can see the usage in Bogo. I can see the usage in the +10 accuracy node, depending on what legendary arena you're fighting. Really just depends. Maybe Gauge Refresh 2, just for keeping up with Gauge stuff. Obviously that, again, it's all got its usability. And if you have a 5 out of 5 Deoxys, maybe pick up Bogo or whatever. It's, again, whatever you want to try and do, man. Deoxys has... It pretty much, like, dips a little bit into everything, but obviously I don't think there's really too much full investment for each form, because again, building for Attack Form Deoxys, this is literally all you need from Attack Form Deoxys, and you've still got 9 energy left, so you can invest that pretty much however you want. Soften Up's probably where I would go, but that depends person to person. And that's Deoxys. This dude is still good. He's got so many different forms that are so good. The normal form is amazing in the Gauntlet. The attack form is still a really solid damage dealer. Not the best psychic damage dealer or the best damage dealer in general anymore, but still really strong, no doubt about that. Defense form is still mostly fodder, but does have a little bit of usage, I guess, being the wall that it is. And Speed form's sync utility is still really solid, and still can be put to use in some shorter battles like the Stadium. Maybe if the high score event was... Maybe in a ranked high score event setting where there's more than 3 battles, I could potentially see some... maybe, but people mostly fish for NPRs with, like, fucking sync utilities anyway, so I guess the sync utility with Speed Form is not really that good there, but Stadium at the very least for if you want to mess around with sync shenanigans, it's very universal. Works pretty well. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Steven. Still a really, really, really useful sync pair to go for, even just at 1 copy, but obviously dupes help him out a ton too. Anyway, moving on to Brendan with the support role and the Sprint EX role. Obviously gained that kind of as a contrast to Anniversary May, where she got the Field EX role right. I could see them having both been getting the Field EX role, and I think that would have been a little bit better, in my opinion. Well, no, it wouldn't have been better because Brendan's more universal this way, but I personally just wanted him to get Dragon Zone. I like the idea of running Brendan alongside a lot of other dragons like Champion Serena. What? No. Signasuit Serena, Signasuit Cynthia, Lucas, special attacking dragons for the most part. Variety Lance could be good too. A lot of dragons I've noticed benefit from like paralysis and obviously the special defense debuffs. So, yeah. And I guess going into Brendan's kit, looking at his stats at level 146 star AX, he's got 317 defense, 328 special defense, pretty solid defensive stats, no doubt about that. 760 HP, 310 speed. Sprint DX roll obviously helps out the offenses. 313 special attacks, not bad for a support character. You can actually do some damage with that. And then obviously with the Mega Evolution, he gets up to 440 special defense, 444 special defense, which is pretty crazy, and 364 physical defense, which is quite solid as well. Well, good as well. So he's got good defensive utility here. Obviously, being a support, I mean, you're gonna, or not utility, but defensive stats. And 850 health is good as well. The Sprint DX roll helps out a decent bit with that. And he's got offensive stats, 327 special attack. It's not horrible with full investment as a support character for sure. And he's also got a damaging move. He's got Luster Purge, which is a 3-gauge move, and actually does guaranteed special defense debuffs with unexpected benefit 2, which raises the chance of lowering stat values, and when the opponent's stat is lowered, it is lowered by double the stat ranks. So he's got guaranteed double special defense debuffs on Luster Purge, -2 every time you use it. This is still good nowadays, but it was mostly really good back then when he released 2 years ago, because there was mostly a lack of special defense debuffers and specifically supports, right? We got Lucian, which is really since Palatine's Dawn our best introduction to special defense debuffers, and then Brendan came along as a support and could do it well as well. But now we've obviously got multiple characters nowadays that can debuff special defense extremely easily, supports that can, whatever. Still though, it's a good ability, no doubt about that. He's got Dragon Breath for 30% chance of paralysis. He just has no Head Start 1 in the base kit. Potions, general good healing, very nice. Obviously, always helpful in any game mode. Nothing else to say. Flying Free, which raises ally crit by 1, and then uses a maximum of 3 move gauge slots. And the more it uses, the more it raises ally special attack and special defense up to 4 stat ranks. And if 3 slots are used, it also applies free moves next to all allies. So good gauge efficiency, +1 crit, and +4 in the special stats as well. Very, very nice, especially at once, right? One chance, one move to raise by +4 is pretty solid. Not crazy anymore, but still really good for sure. And then the passive skills, he's got Team Smart Start, which raises ally special moves next by 1 on entry. Not a crazy effect, but it is there. Free Venge 4 for a 50% chance to apply free moves next when hit by an attack move, for a little bit more gauge efficiency because he is a 2 and 3 gauge move user with solid speed stat, but nothing absurd, right? So having gauge management is good, for sure. Especially having no other method of team gauge management besides the one-time free moves next. It's helpful. And then again, unexpected benefit for the double special defense debuffs. When Mega Evolving, the only thing that changes is Free Venge 4 goes to Free Venge 9, and because Team Smart Start is an entry passive, it will activate again, I'm quite certain, when Brendan Mega Evolves. I'm quite certain I remember that happening. I just haven't verified it today. I'm quite certain that's how it works, though. So getting another +1 special moves next upon using Brendan's sync move for the Support EX and the Sprint EX, if you do have him, or plan to have him EX rolled, will be good for obviously giving that +1 special moves next as well. So that's Brendan's kit, a 1 out of 5. I don't think it's absurd, definitely not, but it is still a pretty solid kit, right? It's a good special support. +1 crit's pretty helpful because most characters can buff crit by at least +2 now. The special attack and special defense buffs are nice. The free moves next nice. The special defense debuffs are obviously still good. 30% paralysis chance could afford to be better, which of course it will be in the grid, but it is there. Potions for healing again, and also a little bit of special moves next buffing as well. And just good defensive stats. Brendan is a pretty decent support, a 1 out of 5. I would not say he's crazy, but he's still good. Yeah, most definitely. A 1 out of 5 in the grid, he doesn't really have too much. Precognition, gauge refresh stuff, pretty basic. 2 out of 5, he gets Fast Track 9, Weird Recovery, Turn Move NPR, Dragon Breath Hostile Environment, and then Potion NPR and Master Healer. Probably the most important stuff to get here is the Potion NPR and Master Healer, so you can obviously Potion heal a ton in the Gauntlet, Stadium, Ultimate Battles, High Score Event, anywhere you're going to use this guy, obviously. Fast Track 9, buffing his own speed. This is probably the biggest issue I have with Brendan, is his gauge efficiency for the most part. And that's where, honestly, having any method of buffing speed is probably going to be relatively good for him, because his only method, again, is free moves next for himself and one usage of free moves next for all allies. That's not really great gauge efficiency, especially with slower characters, and you'll see that if you use them. So do be careful when using this guy. You're going to need some way to manage your gauge, however you can manage that. Whether it be like Move Gauge Refresh 2 or Revenge Boost 4 as a lucky skill, or a Team Speed Buffer, whatever it may be, keep that in mind. Train with NPR, I guess if you want to max out special attack and special defense and go for +2 crit, or up to +3 if you can get 2 NPRs, which would be nuts, kinda. And then also more free moves next if you can manage the gauge for it. That would be pretty decent too. Dragon Breath Hostile Environment, this is 60% paralysis chance, good for Tornadus, good for any acute senses enemy. Is it acute senses? Okay, I really just I don't remember exactly. I need to remember which passive is which, man. I've been doing this for way too long. Healthy Advantage, that's what it is. Yes, Healthy Advantage is for status conditions. This is where paralysis comes in handy. Okay. I just had to check that. Acute Senses is for status changes. I don't know why I could not remember Healthy Advantage, just for the life of me. It was that break, man. I forgot too much. Didn't play this game. Well, I did, but whatever. 2 out of 5, though, overall, that's pretty much all you get. I'd say the potions and the hostile environment is really all you're pretty much getting. I'd say that's mostly going to be useful in the Gauntlet. Can be useful elsewhere, of course, but mostly in the Gauntlet, I think, is where you're going to find the most usage of this. And with more potion stuff at 3 out of 5, obviously. He gets Impervious, Sync Free for All, Team Sharp Entry, Head Start 1, Team Tough Luck, and Adrenaline. Head Start 1 and Adrenaline for some more sync countdown, or, well, just some sync countdown in general. Could be quite helpful, depending on if you can pick it up or not, because that is very expensive. Team Sharp Entry, if you do want to get higher crit rate. If you are trying to really use Brendan as a dedicated crit support, which I wouldn't really recommend, then you can do that with the mixture of Team Sharp Entry, Train with NPR, or whatever it may be, right? You can make usage of this, and I think Team Sharp Entry does apply when you Mega Evolve. So if you Mega Evolve, you get +1 crit again for your allies, and that does have its usages, or uses. He's got Sync Free for All for more free moves next. This is, again, another method of gauge efficiency. It's not bad, but really this guy wants gauge acceleration or speed buffs or something like that. I really think so. And Impervious preventing stat debuffs could be good for a lot of those stages that like to debuff stats, which is mostly a lot of battle challenges, I realized. They like to debuff stats a whole hell of a lot, so moving around that is pretty good, and other stages that may have debuff gimmick utility. Team Tough Luck 4 for raising the defense or special defense of allies when hit by an attack move. Mostly good in the Gauntlet, I would say. Outside of that, it's going to be probably way too slow to actually make usage of, but you can try for sure. So overall, some decent stuff, mostly the potions, the defensive utility. This is all good Gauntlet stuff, so if you want a good dedicated Gauntlet support, Brendan can work very well. Potions are great, defensive buffs are great. What else more can you say? He's also got the ability to do actual damage. Only thing is that he's missing, like, speed, right? Which you can work around for the most part, especially in the Gauntlet, where you can just kind of use a potion to make up for a lack of gauge sometimes. But whatever. 4 to 5 gets Endurance and Train with Critical Squad. This just makes it so you don't have to rely much on Team Sharp Entry or Train with NPR, whatever, to get your crit buffs. They're pretty much splitting his crit buffs between, like, 3 different nodes, which is pretty annoying, but this does make him far more efficient at actually buffing team crits. So it does exist. If you really need this node, I would not recommend picking it up, but it does exist. And Endurance for Endurance. Not much else to say. 5 out of 5 gets Satisfied Snicker, and first sync move, team special boost up 1. Raising special moves next when he uses the sync move first time each battle. I'm pretty sure that does stack with team Smart Start, so you'll be getting +2 special moves next after he uses Support EX. I wouldn't say that's crazy or worth going for at all, really, with all the other stuff he's got, but it is a node that you can make usage of if you really want to. And it is there for some, I guess, burst damage. And then Satisfied Snicker 9, again, debuffing enemy special attack. This special defense debuffs plus special attack debuffs. This is good for Anniversary May, if you do partner them together, because they are Latios and Latios. They were kind of made for each other. May gets activated by special attack and special defense debuffs. Brendan applies special defense, she applies special attack. Obvious. And Brendan's also, of course, a special support for Latios, right? Satisfied Snicker just makes him better at that role, and also, even outside of that, being able to debuff special attack is good for team defensive utility and also, or defensive ability, rather, and also being able to activate multipliers or whatever else. So, pretty decent node all around. I think Brendan's pretty much just fine at 3 out of 5. The Critical Squad's decent, but overall, I think I'd just rather keep him at this. Keep the potion stuff, keep the team Tough Luck or whatever, Head Start 1 or Adrenaline 1 if I want to, and I'm just happy with that. The grid you want to build for Brendan really just depends on what you're going to fight, again. And honestly, if you're going to go for the Legendary Gauntlet, there you go. That's pretty much all I think you might need. Could be wrong. Fast Track could be good. Obviously, Fast Track is probably going to be another node you're going to pick up for the gauge management, because he does have, again, kind of an issue with that. Maybe run Fast Track 2 as the other character's lucky skill, so you're good on speed. Point is, this is what you need for the gauntlet, probably. You could probably skip out, I guess, on potion like Master Healers and whatnot, and then use this 18 energy elsewhere. For whatever reason, Impervious, Sync Free for All, SR1. I don't know why you need SR1, but you could, I guess. Team Sharp Entry, Team Training Critical Squad. Maybe if you need more dedicated crit buffs again, you could go for a turn move NPR here, maxing out offenses or something like that. You could do that if you really, really want to, because at the end of the day, most of the time, all you need is really potion NPR. But you could go for this too. Other than that, though, like if you want to go for a more offensive buffing Brendan, really probably Head Start 1, Team Sharp Entry. I'd mostly just not pick up Critical Squad or NPR. I just mostly deal with this. Probably go for Adrenaline 1 if you can manage the energy for it, because man, stuff is expensive. I think this is better grid to build. Yeah, it's 10 energy instead of 11. And then really, I guess, whatever else. I don't think it matters too much if you're going to go for an offensive setup. Maybe go for a potion NPR or something. If you want to just have a little bit of defensive ability there, you can. Overall, though, I think Brendan's just fine at 3 out of 5. The 4 out of 5 stuff is fine with the crit buffs. The 5 out of 5 is good for the special attack debuffs and whatnot. But I think Brendan's main stuff obviously is fine at 3 out of 5, which I think that's the case for most characters. But hey, where you can save a candy, save a candy. Unless, of course, he's your favorite. And he did gain a good buff from the Sprint EX roll, gaining a little bit more offenses, and obviously the -6 countdown is quite good as well. So, hey, works for me, probably works for most people. But overall, that's my thoughts about the rerun of the Hoenn Villain arc with the new banner. Steven and Brendan are both still good. I don't think they're fantastic, amazing... in Steven's case, maybe he still is, but like top tier god characters or whatever you want to call them. But I think they're still good, great even, right? A good PokeFair banner that's worth going for, especially as a new player. If you manage to be a new player and pull both of these units, you're going to be able to complete most content, and you're going to have quite a bit of strength to defeat, I guess, most average content. Not like a high score event or a damage challenge or whatever, but for the most part, stadium battles, all legendary arenas, you're going to be fine to beat those with these characters, and they're going to be good for your account even in the long run too. Mostly Steven. Brendan, you can probably sacrifice out for another character that once you get one better, but still, he's always going to have usage, and at least being one more legendary gauntlet win at the very least, and having options is always nice. But whatever, that's my thoughts. I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on summoning. I will be doing daily discounts in hopes to get at least dupes of one of these guys, please. Maybe multis at the end. Maybe multis if I can pull up the gems and try and dupe out Steven a little bit more. That would be nice. But whatever, again, yeah. See you all later. Hope you all enjoyed.